Nostalgia. Nostalgia is, I think, quite overrated at this stage in gaming, but sometimes there comes a project along that gives me such a blast of positive nostalgia that is unreal. And this is the case with our subject today, Skald against the Black Priory. Published by Black Priory and developed by High North Studios AS. We'll probably do the same for everyone who has ever played Ultima V and loved that game. But I'm really getting ahead of myself. I want to get into that point a little bit later. For now, I just want to talk about the relevant information so you can decide if this game is for you or not. We start with the graphics. The graphics of the game specifically emulate to a T a computer era gone by, even down to the color palette. And why do I say computer era gone by? Because very specifically, this is closer to something you'd find on a Commodore or Amiga. I know Amiga was a trademark of Commodore, but bear with me here. More so than something you'd find on an IBM PC back in the day. Even the trailer alludes to this, showing some kid entering a cartridge with Skald into his Commodore 64. So there is a real longing for this kind of nostalgia. And this is a through line through the entire game. What can I say about the graphics? It is something that I dearly love and missed probably for a very long time. I'm very prone to nostalgic feelings sometimes, especially when it's something that I really enjoyed back in the day or have fond memories of. So you have to kind of take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think the graphics or the art, let's say the art style, because the graphics, I don't think we are talking about fidelity here. I think we are talking about art style here. And the art style is just absolutely beautiful. I love it. No matter if you have like these great still images that portray a scene that is currently going on, or something that alludes to the cosmic horror that Skald is so fond of portraying. It just is very moody, very tense, very atmospheric, and it nails what it sets out to do so much. And I cannot tell you how beautiful and sometimes how very grim dark this game actually gets with the portrayal of the darkness it wants to exude. I would actually claim that at some points the game leans a bit too heavily into dark themes and just comes off as edgy more than mature. But I also think that's part and parcel of the package, because sometimes games aren't mature, sometimes they are just juvenile. And I like that. I like my edge in my video games. I will not have it any other ways. This also shows in the graphics. For example, during combat, you are going to destroy the enemy. There's a few really grim fates that await your enemy, portrayed in very low fidelity pixel graphics. And I love it. I love it so much. Going from the graphics into the gameplay, this is probably where the most modern stuff happened. In terms of combat, this game very much feels like a modern day turn-based RPG that is really thoughtful put together, and you have a lot of options during combat because you also have a variety of classes, 9 to be exact, and a variety of backgrounds. So you already have a lot of combination possibilities there during the character creation, and you obviously also accumulate a party during gameplay. So you have 6 character slots overall, 1 for yourself and 5 for additional party members. So the composition of the party will also do a lot for you when it comes to gameplay. That isn't to say that combat is very central. You actually can avoid most of the combat as far as I've played the game, and you can also just go in and just fuck shit up. You can use stealth, you can use diplomacy. The game gives you ample options to just role play actually, and this is what I very much appreciate about it. You can do a variety of things. For example, if you arrive in the central city Horan, it is controlled by 3 factions, and what you can do is either you can outplay the 3 factions, you can just straight up walk up to the leaders and kill them in combat. So player choice and options are always really good. But how does the actual combat itself work? Well, you got your turn-based combat that every RPG has these days. Mostly it's decided by dice roll. The dice rolls mainly come into effect when you attack or cast a spell, obviously. You have a set amount of movement points, for example, when you move around. Then you have 1 attack per round. You have special skills. You can cast spells. There is a variety of stuff that you can do, and it gives you a lot of options on how to approach combat. So even in a battle where you're outgunned and outnumbered, if you play really strategically, you can turn the tide into your favor. Just have to do it really clever. As for the story, this is where I will probably could ruffle some feathers. I am not sure. I love the story itself, don't get me wrong. It is very well written. It is actually super interesting and one of the better cosmic horror stories that I've experienced as of late. And there is obviously a lot of craftsmanship here. But I will say that this sometimes feels like a legally distinct quasi-remake of Ultima V. Not that there is anything wrong about that, because the game wears its inspiration on its sleeve, but especially in the story you feel this kind of inspiration, because what Skald does is it lifts plot beats from Ultima V and transports it into its own story. However, what it does really well is when it lifts these story beats, it always puts its own spin on it. It makes you feel nice and cozy and you think, hey, I know this, but then it throws you a curveball and something completely unexpected happens. So as much as it takes inspiration from Ultima 4, it also goes in and does its own thing. So I don't see this as a bad thing. I am just pointing out, hey, if you've played Ultima 5 in the past, you might get some deja vus, and then maybe more often than not, the deja vu turns out to be, hey, that is not how that played out. In any case, do I recommend Skald against the Black Priory? Yes, I do. In fact, it is one of my favorite RPG releases in the last 2 years, if not even in the top 3. I put it next to Baldur's Gate 3 and 40k Rogue Trader. And that is a tall order because I love those games dearly. And I love Skald just as much. So if you want a blast from the past essentially and some good old nostalgia but with some modernization and a cosmic horror spin, so to say, then Skald is for you. Check it out. It's out now on Steam and it is glorious. It's been TheOrcosaurus for the TSI. If you like what we do here, like and subscribe. Today we went a little bit away from the usual strategy fare, but I would argue that a turn-based RPG has still strategy elements, so you can obviously put that in here. Other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you all soon. Take care everyone and bye bye.